Everyone, Zach Tucker here for our weekly Inside the Headset segment, getting you ready for the Carolina Classic Fair Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week presented by West Shore Home. This week we have Mount Tabor versus Davie County. We are joined now by Spartans head coach, Coach Brown. Coach Brown, thanks so much for joining us today. And we had the pleasure of having Mount Tabor on last week for our Game of the Week against East Forsyth. Kind of take me back through last Friday night and your thoughts overall on the game.
Man, we played well into the last 2 minutes of the game, man. We made a couple mental mistakes and it cost us. Just unfortunate for us, man. We won't have time to soap and feel sorry for ourselves. We got to get right back up and play a really good Davie County team.
The Spartans last week had a couple of flashy plays. Talk about a kick return for a touchdown, also a fumble recovery for a touchdown as well. But there's one play in particular that really stood out to me, and that was the fake punt that you guys had and converted for a first down. Take me through the process of, it takes a lot to execute a play like that, and take me through the process of making a call like that.
Well, it's something you see on film, man. We seen it on film. We knew if they wound up a certain way, we was going to try it. The opportunity presented itself, and we really didn't execute it the exact same way. John Fowler made a play. That kid is really fast, man. He just went out there and made a play. I made the call, but he made it happen.
Now, we are a little bit familiar with Mount Tabor since we did have you guys featured as our Game of the Week last week. But tell me, is there an athlete or two that's really kind of stood out to you so far this year?
Absolutely. Well, obviously when you have 2 4-stars, Jadon Blair and Shamaris Peterkin. But I'm very impressed with my offensive line, man. Antoine Lowry has led that group. Zion Thompson came up real big for us this past week. 25 carries for 100-plus yards. That was big for us. Defensively, Anthony Patella has really stepped up due to some of the injuries we have, and he's became that leader on defense that we need. We have a lot of guys that can play, man. We just got to finish. It's all about finishing. The last 2 weeks, I want to say we lost to a combined maybe 2 to 3 points. So it's really about finishing, man. We got to finish this week. Davie County poses a lot of problems. They got a great quarterback, a really big, fast tailback, and a big offensive line. And defensively, them guys play extremely hard. So we got to step up this week and finish the football game.
And as you just mentioned, the past 2 weeks, you guys have had back-to-back one-point losses. Last week, you mentioned that your team kind of has its back against the wall at this point in the season. Do you still feel that way?
Absolutely, man. I think we're capable. We have 4 games left. I think we're capable of winning all 4. It's about finishing. Last week, we really put an emphasis on running the football. We were successful at doing that. We like to pass a little bit more than what we did, but the game kind of dictated the play calling. When you can score on special teams and defense, you can kind of sit back on the ball. We really dominated time of possession, but we didn't dominate the last 2 minutes.
Big time game tonight against Davie County. Tell me a little bit about the War Eagles and what's going to take to pull out a victory in this one.
Davie County has a dynamic offense. A lot of really good players. They're very solid, but one of their things is their tempo. They like to go fast. Watching the film versus Reagan, I seen the ball being snapped before the chains was actually set. So that means they're going really, really fast. The chain crew can't even keep up. So I've talked to my team about that. We got to be mentally and physically prepared for a fast pace. And I think one of the ways you combat that is having success running the football, getting first downs.
In a big-time game tonight for Mount Tabor, it's homecoming. You also will have a pregame ceremony honoring some of the former Spartans all-time greats, athletically speaking. What's it going to be like, having that sort of atmosphere and having that all being played out on TV tonight?
Well, I had a lot of former players call me, said they was coming. It's always good to see those guys, man. It brings back really good memories, and it gives me a good vibe for the game. And a lot of players that I played with here at Mount Tabor coming back too. So it's always good to see your brotherhood coming back and supporting your team. We got to feed off of that energy from the crowd this week. We plan on having a packed stadium. It's homecoming. Everybody's gonna be happy, and we got to go out here and get this win for the community.
Now, before the game tonight, what can the Spartans expect for their pregame meal?
It's not our favorite, but we're having a hamburger helper and salads. We're trying to go a little light this week. Last week we had fried chicken, collard greens, and a roll. I think that was a little bit heavy on it. So this week we're going a little bit lighter.
Any pregame superstitions for you, Coach, or even some of the players?
And I used to be real superstitious. Bob Sapp, my former head coach here, he was very superstitious. But man, once you do it for 20 plus years, man, football is football. It's about going out there executing. So I tell the guys, man, we got to have our mind in a good place. We want to have a good vibe, feed off the crowd, and play Mount Tabor football, which is a physical brand of football. That's what we really want to do.
You mentioned a little bit ago about some of the guys that really stepped up so far this season, but which one of your players would you say is the best overall athlete?
Oh, man, it's not even close. Shamars Peterkin. He can do it all. Last week, you seen him at receiver, quarterback, defensive back, punt returner, kick returner, and on kickoff. This week, you're going to see him a couple other places, too. He can really do it all, man. This guy has really stepped up tremendously for us, and he's one of our playmakers.
I've got to ask, Coach, now that we are officially in October, do you have any favorite Halloween costume that you've worn over the years?
The Mummy. That was one of my favorites, The Mummy. I used to love that movie, but I think that's a simple costume. I always liked it. It was just my thing. I like to dress up as the Mummy.
Awesome. And for the fans that are watching this, that'll also be at the game tonight, what would you say is your biggest message to them?
Don't give up on us. We got better football ahead of us. Come out, support your team. We're gonna put a good product out there this week. We feel really good about this football game. Two contrasting styles. They like to throw the ball around, and we want to throw, but we also gonna run this football. Get back to old Mount Tabor.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Coach Brown. Appreciate it. And good luck tonight and the rest of the way of the season.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Let's go ahead and check in with what's going on over in Davie County. All right. Well, we are joined now by Davie County head coach, Coach Devericks. Coach Devericks, thanks so much for being with us here today. Your team is off to a pretty good start this season with a 5-1 record. Open up with a season opening loss to Mooresville, but since then have won 5 straight games, have averaged 46.8 points of offense during that winning streak there. Kind of take us through your thoughts on the team so far this season.
Yeah, we obviously had a vision of what this team could be. And, facing a very talented Mooresville team, returning a lot of players from last year's very successful team was a challenge right out of the gate. And, I think once that game was over and it ended, that what the guys were able to see was there were some things that we could have done early in that ball game. Correct. If we had done correctly, we wouldn't have been in such a hole in the fourth quarter. And just that little spark of belief, and we just kind of been building on that ever since.
Yeah, and right now, currently, Davie County is tied at the top of the conference standings with West Forsyth. How does that kind of affect your mindset so far to have so much success early on, but really, want to keep the truck rolling here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like conversations we have to have with our guys. Like, you can't look ahead. You can't change it. Can't change the future, predict the future. You can't change the past. Focus on the present and now. And the goal is to go 1-0 every week and then to compete at a high level.
For those at home who are watching this, tell us a little bit about some of your playmakers.
Yeah, on offense, everyone starts with Ty Miller at quarterback, Markel Summers at running back. We got a squad of receivers, who can contribute on any given night. And then, up front, we got 4 seniors that are, doing a pretty good job right now of, helping us run the ball successfully and pass protection. On defense, I think it all starts with our front guys. We have some depth finally on the DL and able to rotate those guys and keep fresh legs. And that's contributed a lot. At linebacker, Elijah Chafin, he's a freshman who has an outstanding nose for the football. And then, two experienced guys at safety with Elijah Branham at one safety and Connor Hood at the other, and a returning corner who was a sophomore. He had to play a lot last year, but Gavin Reese has done a good job for us as well.
Now, do the War Eagles, is there any slogan or any saying that you guys have to help provide some sort of inspiration on the field?
Well, at home we try to protect the nest, and those are things that we talk about. And obviously we're not at home tonight, but we got to be ready to bring the energy and match the physicality of a very good Mount Tabor team.
Speaking of tonight, playing against a team in Mount Tabor that's coming off of back-to-back 1-point losses. Tell us a little bit about the Spartans and what's it going to take to have a victory tonight.
Yeah, I see, obviously they got Peterkin, who's a phenomenal athlete who can catch the ball, step in at Wildcat quarterback, but they also have a very good quarterback who's able to, make plays with his arm. Their running back is, it just seems like the mirror image every week of the running backs that we're seeing. Very talented, low center of gravity, hard to get on the ground. And then defensive wise, I know they've had a couple injuries up front throughout the season. However, the guys they have playing D-Well right now are, they're big guys, and, they cause a lot of havoc in the run game. And, obviously when you have a safety over there who's being, recruited by every school in the country, he's a pretty awesome player as well.
When you look at the CPC overall, it seems like there's just teams every year really that have a chance to make a run in the playoffs. Why do you think there's so much prestige with this conference?
Well, number one, I think it's good coaching. And I think there's a camaraderie among us coaches. Yeah, we're going to compete every week, but we also know that there's a representation out in non-conference and when we get into playoffs, hopefully that, we represent our conference well. And then I also think there's a great pool of talent in this 336 area code right now. If you go all the way to Greensboro and to Statesville, there's a wide range of talent of high school athletics right now.
Now, the game tonight will be broadcast all over the Piedmont Triad on My 48. How big of an opportunity is this for your program?
I think it's awesome. Just to kind of spotlight not only our football team, but also our school in general. And, hopefully our Davie Crazies will be out there being loud. And, we always have a great community who comes and supports us on every Friday night.
Now, speaking of My 48 and Friday Night Rivals, one of our big sponsors is the Carolina Classic Fair, which has really been going on all this week at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. Going off of that, Coach, do you have any favorite fair food or favorite fair attractions?
Not so much on attractions. Those are a little old for me. I'm a little old for them, I should say. But I think favorite food would probably be like a spicy Italian sausage sandwich and, probably something that I would regret 6 hours later when my heartburn kicks in. But, that's what I would like. And
Gotcha.
then I also have a sweet tooth. So anything sweet, cotton candy, funnel cake, whatever, I'm down for that as well.
All right. Yeah, I definitely won't hold that against you. And speaking of food, what can the War Eagles expect for their pregame meal tonight?
Well, usually we are blessed in our community. A church will come in and offer us a meal from their community, their church community, and works out really well this week. They'll be here at Davie High, and then we'll have to speed things up and get on the bus and get to Mount Tabor.
Any pregame superstitions for you or some of the players?
No, not really. There are some things that, I like to get out and walk the hashes. Just something that I've done since my playing days, is just walk the hash on both sides and just kind of take in the environment. Nothing crazy.
You mentioned a little bit ago about some of the key playmakers on your team this year, but who out of that group would you say is your best overall athlete?
Ooh, that's a very difficult question because it depends on the skill set you're talking about. It might have to be Ty Miller just because he can adapt. He's a two-sport star, two-sport athlete here at our school, plays baseball and football, but he's also very, gifted in the classroom as well. So being able to adjust to a different environment might be where he edges a few people out on our team.
And it's really hard to believe, Coach, that we are in October right now, but I got to ask you, since Halloween's just right around the corner, what would you say is your favorite Halloween costume of all time?
Oh, favorite Halloween costume of all time. I guess when I was able to dress up as a football player, like football's been my life since I was a little kid, and just looking ahead to that in the future, and able to get a high school jersey where I grew back up and just wear that on Halloween night was really cool for me.
And Coach, big time game tonight again against Mount Tabor. We'll be on my 48. But what is your final message to all the fans before kickoff tonight?
I just enjoy the night. It's a great opportunity for two teams here in the Triad, but also we're going to be blessed with great weather. We're going to be blessed, just to compete in a game against two good teams, and just enjoy it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Coach Devericks. Appreciate it, and good luck tonight and the rest of the way of the season.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in for our Inside the Headset segment today. For more related content, subscribe to the ABC 45 YouTube channel.